Okay, here we go. Kevin Westerbeck. Kevin is probably my third least famous, personally infamous predator, or let's just say the third in line of the predators that I think are the most dangerous. First being Dustin McFedrich, and the second being Lauren Armstrong. The placement, I think, is based upon the chat log. This guy, instead of grooming a girl for a month like Lauren did, Kevin Westerbeck was more of a fast mover. Kevin Westerbeck falls into that category very similar to Dustin McFedrich, where he has a physical disability. I believe that physical disability leads him to feel he needs to dominate or he needs to be dominant in a relationship. And what's he going to do? He is a dwarf. He is a person of small stature. So who is he going to dominate? He's not going to be able to dominate a grown-ass woman. He may not be comfortable, even if a woman would have a relationship with him, he may not be comfortable in that situation. So he's going to want to find someone weaker than himself and smaller than himself, or of similar size. So he chooses to go after children. That is very dangerous. It's dangerous in a different way from Lauren, and in a little bit different way from Dustin. He had offended before. He had raped a child that was a relative of his, and I believe he may have done it one other time. And you have to understand, with criminals like this, they offend way more than they're caught. In other words, if they're caught for offending 2 or 3 times, they could have offended 12 times. We don't know, and we probably never will know with this guy. But it disgusts me. This is another one of those types, and I really believe that all of the predators are monsters. Okay, but this guy has clearly shown the fact that he's a monster, and by the fact that he was his several convictions, including TCAP and the family, the young relative of his. He is another guy who casts a kind of pathetic, in his case, but to some people maybe a sympathetic image, because look at that poor little guy. Look at that guy. Look what kind of challenges he's faced in life. He's a dwarf. He's short. He can barely get up on a stool. Maybe steps are a problem for him. And this only goes to show you, folks, you cannot judge whether or not a person is a good person or whether or not a person is dangerous by their physical appearance. Because a guy like Kevin Westerbeck is not going to try to rob you at a store. He's not going to try to take you captive, because physically he can't. But what is he a danger to? He is a frightening danger to children, as was proven by the events of To Catch a Predator and what we found out happened with him before. When he's speaking to a child online, you know, you can hide everything. You can paint a picture of yourself or an image, sculpt an image of yourself to be anything you want it to be. And most adults, even if you chatted with this guy, at some point you're like, yeah, whatever. But with children who are impressionable, that's exactly the angle he's going for. If he chatted and didn't tell a woman that he was trying to go, date from a dating site, if he didn't tell her that he is a dwarf or he's physically different, once you show up at the coffee shop or however they do that, and she's going to leave. But if he walks in as he thought he was doing on a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl, then all of a sudden he's in control. I believe, like Dustin McFedrich, I believe Kevin Westerbeck could absolutely force himself on a child. He did. He was convicted of it. So there you go. And so anyway, that's Kevin Westerbeck. He is absolutely a monster. I like that term for this type of individual. He is not someone that needs your sympathy. And let me just end with this. When he was one of those aggressive predators, when he came into the Sting house, and I don't remember who was the decoy, but when the decoy said, I banged my toe, or I'll be right down, or I think the decoy said, well, I'm going to change. He runs in there and says, oh, I'll watch you. Well, that only goes to show that had there been a young girl in there, there would not have been the option of running upstairs or hiding in a room. He saw his opportunity and he went straight for it. So those are my thoughts on Kevin Westerbeck. Thank you, folks, and I'll talk to you all soon. This is Arashineko signing out.